Hi, I'm Katrina Eames. If you're watching this, you either already know who I am, or somebody sent you this video because you told them that you're not sure if you're going to vote, even though you're eligible to vote. Either way, welcome to Defense Against the Dark Arts. Let's learn how to protect ourselves with politics. Throughout the Harry Potter series, there are 4 Ministers of Magic: Cornelius Fudge, Rufus Griggamore, Pius Thickens, and Kingsley Shacklebolt. Yet we never see an election. And we know they do get voted into office because of Cornelius Fudge telling the Prime Minister and the Half-Blood Prince, "My dear Prime Minister, you can't honestly think I'm still Minister of Magic after all this. I was sacked 3 days ago. The whole wizarding community has been screaming for my resignation for a fortnight. I've never known them so united in my whole term of office." This book series has very politically informed and involved characters. It never features an election though because the main characters are always unable to vote. So why should you vote if Harry Potter's not gonna do it? My first reason is a simple one. It's because you have a civic responsibility to vote. If you live in a country where you get to vote, then you're at least partially responsible for the things that your government is doing, even when you abstain from voting. When the government stinks, it's partially on the voters for not picking better representatives. Candidates running for office have to get people to support them, and they take on positions and propose policies that they think will help get voters on their side. Let's take a moment to talk about Cornelius Fudge. In the Chamber of Secrets, Cornelius Fudge sends Hagrid, a man who he knew to be innocent, to Azkaban. The problem he was facing was that the Chamber of Secrets had been opened, and his solution to the Chamber of Secrets opening was to imprison someone who had previously been accused of opening it. Theoretically, this policy made voters feel safer even though Hagrid wasn't offered a trial, but it didn't address the underlying issue, which is why when you do vote, you want to be an informed voter who understands the solutions to problems that your representatives are proposing. Sometimes it's difficult to be an informed voter. Like in the Order of the Phoenix, Cornelius Fudge feels his seat is being threatened by Dumbledore, and then proceeds to use the press to discredit his claim that Voldemort is back. He is trying to maintain the status quo and stay in power, and he has money like campaign donations from the Malfoys, and he has resources of the entire Ministry of Magic, and has some control over the narrative at the Daily Prophet. He is using these money and resources to build support for his policy position that Voldemort isn't back. The typically responsible thing to do in this situation is to get your news from more than one source. Maybe have a subscription to the Daily Prophet and the Quibbler. You have a civic responsibility to vote, but it also wouldn't hurt to be an informed voter. As people with the right to vote, we have the responsibility to vote for people who run for office because they have plans and policies we agree with and that we think will improve our lives and our country. We have the responsibility to pay attention to campaigns and the press and pick candidates who we believe will listen to their constituents about the issue. If we want our government to do better, we have to vote for better representatives. The second reason why you should vote is because you should make your voice heard. Doesn't everybody love being listened to? Voting is a way to make your voice heard. It is your official endorsement of a candidate, a policy position, or initiative. Contrary to the popular saying, you do have a right to complain when you don't vote, but those complaints are generally taken more seriously if you did something about it and are actively doing something about the thing you're complaining about. Let's talk about Rufus Griggamore. Here was a man who looked like a lion and who led a war. He was voted into office with the assurance that he would do something about Voldemort. This position appealed to a lot of people and they endorsed him with their vote. Members of the Order of the Phoenix, people who had believed Dumbledore and Harry, and older members of Dumbledore's army who were most likely voting in their first election were likely to back this candidate because Rufus Griggamore was doing something about an issue that they cared about, and they spoke up in support of doing something about the problem. Voting for Griggamore was a way for people to express their opinions of how their government should handle a crisis. Although the political anthem Cornelius Fudge is an ass was also a way to make their voices heard. My third and final reason is that voting makes the government better. Over time, voting patterns can influence who runs for office. If candidates who propose real solutions to difficult problems are consistently getting elected, then that's what a good political candidate looks like. If candidates who appeal to the lowest common denominator, use scare tactics, and who run only to oppose the other political party are voted into office, then that's what a good candidate looks like. A good candidate is just somebody who wins. When we get involved in the political process and hold our representatives accountable, it changes things. We are dictating what makes a good political candidate and how our government should address the issues. This is how Kingsley Shacklebolt was elected. The people voted out Fudge for failing to acknowledge that the issues existed. The people fought a war against Voldemort and blood supremacists, and they worked to root out all who supported him and remove them from positions of power. The ministry was dealing with a politically active, media-literate generation of young voters who were passionate about educational reform after being subjected to Dolores Umbridge, who cared about equality after fighting a war to protect their friends from people who said they were less than them. These voters cared about ethical journalism after seeing the Daily Prophet so easily controlled by the government, and the Quibbler, who was influenced by Death Eaters. These voters put people in power who addressed the issues, who had experience, and who had plans on how to deal with dark wizards. Enter Kingsley Shacklebolt, head auror, war hero, and consistent advocate for the oppressed, and the future Minister of Magic. Your vote matters. If you're eligible to vote, please vote. And please work to make the government better with your vote. If you're ineligible to vote, there are lots of non-voting actions you can still participate in. And that's a great way to get involved and hold your representatives accountable. One thing you can do is convince other people to vote. Hopefully, this video helps you do that. If you liked this video, please subscribe, watch another video of mine, or support me on Patreon. And for more research, you can check out the channel How to Vote in Every State, which is exactly what it sounds like. And hey, I love you.